Hi guys, I'm J.R.R Book Fanatic. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to talk to you about my September TBR. I have less books than I normally do on my TBR, and I'm quite fine with that because I started college at the beginning of September, and honestly, it's been really fucking hard. So I don't have a lot of time to read anymore. I do still try to read a lot, but I don't have a lot of time anymore. So I try to get as much reading done as I possibly can. And honestly, I don't even know if I will manage to read everything from this TBR. The first book I definitely want to mention though is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire Sáenz. This is my second reread of this book, and this is my third time officially reading it, but I randomly picked this book back up with my boyfriend because he hasn't read it before, and it is one of my favorite books of all time. So he's currently reading it with me, and we are 100 pages in already in only 2 days, so we've been doing good with this. Aristotle and Dante is about two guys, Aristotle and Dante, who meet each other at poolside. Dante teaches Aristotle how to swim, and they become quick friends. This is their story. It's written from Aristotle's point of view. It's about him, basically his coming of age story, his family life, him dealing with being Mexican American, but it's also being friends with someone for the first time. This book is written very poetically, very simplistic, which is why it's very easy to get through, and I am loving reading this again. I felt like I needed another book on my TBR, so I asked my boyfriend to pick a random book from my Goodreads TBR, and he did. So I'm going to be reading That Little Mean Girl by Darrows. This book came out back in March, and it's about a geek girl who suddenly has a new stepsister who is moving in, but her new stepsister turns out to be the popular mean girl from her high school. And Emma, our main character, wants nothing more than to get Quinn out of her life until Quinn suddenly dies. This sounds very interesting, and I don't know anything about the plot based on the synopsis and what's really going to happen, except that it's about a geeky main character who hates her stepsister until she suddenly dies, but I don't know what the actual story is going to be about, if there's a romance in there or not, so I'm very curious as to what this book is going to be about. Another book I am very interested in reading is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This is a mystery thriller novel, and I currently have a prompt where I have to read books that are set on water or in water, and The Woman in Cabin 10 takes place on a cruise ship in, obviously, Cabin 10. And I am not a huge mystery reader, so I am very excited to finally get to a mystery book because it's normally so out of my comfort zone. But this follows a main character called Lo Blacklock, who's a journalist and gets to spend a week on a cruise ship in a luxury cabin. But then Lo witnesses a woman being thrown overboard. The strange thing is that all passengers are accounted for, there is no one missing. And nobody is looking for this woman that has been thrown overboard, and Lo is obviously trying to figure out this mystery of who was this woman, why was she thrown overboard, and is she still alive or is she dead? What has happened to her? A book I have been wanting to read for the longest time is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is an Alice in Wonderland prequel, I would say. It follows the Queen of Hearts, and it's her villain origin story. Love this cover, and I am so excited because I basically know nothing about the Queen of Hearts, and I'm very curious as to how she became the Queen of Hearts, and just a villain origin story. I don't think I've ever read one before, at least not it being the basic premise. But the front of this book says, before she was the Queen of Hearts, she was just a girl who wanted to fall in love. So I'm thinking she gets her heart broken. I am so excited for this, and I hope to get to it in September. Then the last two books on this TBR are books I definitely want to get to. And the first one is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the prequel to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I love this cover. It's very shiny, like the mountains are shiny. I tried reading The Hobbit once before, but I thought it was boring and I DNF'd it. But now I want to try again because the Austentatious book club, which I will link down below, this is their book of the month, and I really want, and I'm following along with that because I want to read more classics, so I'm obviously picking this one up and giving this one another try. The Hobbit is about a hobbit called Bilbo Baggins, who's just living in his hobbit hole. But then the wizard Gandalf and 13 dwarves show up on his doorstep unexpectedly, and they basically whisk him away on this journey of adventure and magic. I hope I won't be as bored by it as I was last time. And then the book in this TBR I am most excited for is my first hardcover in a long time, and that is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This book is also shiny and is also beautiful. I will haul this in one of my upcoming hauls, but for now, I am so excited about reading this. I've been looking at this for a long time, and I suddenly got the notification from Book Depository that there was a discount on this book, and I just snatched it because it was so cheap, especially for a hardcover. This book is a science fiction set in 2059. It follows a main character called Paige Mahoney, and Paige is part of the criminal underworld of Sáenz, London, which is the London of 2059. Her job is to scout for information by breaking into people's minds, and how she does that is by walking into people's dreams. She's a dream walker. One day, Paige gets attacked, drugged, and kidnapped, and gets transported to Oxford. She gets assigned a warden. The place where she's staying is basically a prison. Being a dream walker is seen as treason, and I'm assuming she gets discovered as being a dream walker, but she has to basically be on good behavior if she ever wants to regain her freedom from this prison. And that is what The Bone Season is about. I think it is a 6-book series, and the first 3 books are out. But these covers are absolutely beautiful, and I cannot wait to start this series because it sounds super exciting. What I want to do for this last part of the video is use my TBR jar to pick one more challenge. I like having options, and having a lot of books gives me more options to read during the month. So let's start with my TBR jar. I'm getting less and less challenges since I'm doing so many of them, and it's really great because I'm actually seeing progress. Oh, everything's falling out, but I got one. And the challenge for this month is a book set somewhere you've always wanted to visit. And for this challenge, I'm choosing The Most Beautiful Woman in Florence, a story of Botticelli. And obviously, it's in the title. Florence is somewhere I really want to go someday. I've been to Rome, I haven't been to Florence, but honestly, I absolutely love the old architecture in Florence and in Rome, just in general in Italy. I absolutely love it. And all the art history that's settled there. And Alyssa Palombo's stories. I've read another one of her books, which was The Violinist of Venice, which is obviously also set in Italy. And I really like the setting, so I'm obviously really interested in reading another historical fiction story set in Italy by her. And this book is set in 15th century Florence. It's obviously a time period where the Medici family was still reigning, and I love the Medici family because of their art history and just their history in general. I love reading about them, I love watching TV shows about them. This story is about a girl called Simonetta, and she jumps at a chance to marry a rich and handsome Italian guy called Marco Vespucci, and then she gets swept up in the Medici's inner circle. But then she gets to meet the young painter Sandro Botticelli, and he manages to strike her heart the most. Botticelli immediately invites Simonetta to pose for a painting. Simonetta gets involved in this intimacy with Botticelli while also navigating her marriage, her society life in Florence. But eventually, that intimacy leads to her being immortalized in Botticelli's masterpiece, The Birth of Venus. It's obviously a reimagining, but Simonetta has really existed, just like Botticelli, obviously. This is a reimagining of actual history. So these are all the books I want to read during September. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books and what you think about them. Or what books are you going to read in September? I would love to know. Thank you for watching. Goodbye!